Hey folks, welcome to the Cripescast. This is the podcast where we talk to people for and or from the Midwest. We are brought to you by Everlight Solar, and here's this week's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to the Cripescast. This week my guest is Ryland Tews. He is an actor, he is a writer, he is the star of Hundreds of Beavers, which you're not familiar. It's a film made right here in Wisconsin. It's super funny. It's got 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like one of the highest rated films on Rotten Tomatoes. It's won countless awards. It's been at so many festivals. It is the second highest rated film on Letterboxd this year. And it's just a real joy of a movie. I mean, it's great. It's so much fun. I don't think it's technically a silent film, but it does have that vibe, and it's kind of like watching like Looney Tunes had a love child with Charlie Chaplin while the Three Stooges cocked. I don't know. Is that a weird thing? Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing to say, but it's really fun. It's really fun is what I'm trying to say, and it's great to have Ryland on. It's great talking about the local film scene here in Wisconsin, sort of what's possible when you have an idea, how to take it to the next level. So anyway, I'm very excited for this interview. I enjoyed talking to Ryland a lot, and I think you will enjoy it too. And also I want to say that Hundreds of Beavers, it is right now, you can see it in theaters in Wisconsin for one night only, December 5th. Go to hundredsofbeavers.com for tickets. And it's going to be in Milwaukee, Madison, Watertown, and La Crosse. And you can follow Hundreds of Beavers at Beaver Film on X, and everywhere else it's at Hundreds of Beavers. And also, folks, I should say I am on tour. I am going to be in Elkhart, Indiana, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Cincinnati, Ohio. That's coming up in the next couple months. Also, we've got Royal Oak, Michigan coming up, a whole deal. So check it out, charliebarons.com for tickets or cripescast.com. Just click on the tour section. Before we get to the podcast, as always, we are still raising money for Doctors Without Borders. They are helping out tremendously in the Middle East and around the world. And you can follow them at Doctors Without Borders or go to doctorswithoutborders.org. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is my conversation with Ryland Tews. So your dad made that thing, huh?
Yeah, he made this. He made some other props in the movie too, and he made like the whole merchant stand and the whole like corral thing. So
yeah,
he's definitely a handyman. So he's definitely someone who I could just at a moment's notice be like, Dad, we need a thing built, like we need a giant apple built, and he'd say, I don't, what, you want it made out of wood? Yeah, we need it for like 2 days, And the same thing with this, and he made it happen. So
yeah. What does your dad's scrap wood pile look like?
His wood pile is so big that my mom and him moved into our house growing up like 30 years ago. And there's wood at the bottom of the scrap pile that's never been used. Like it's been there since day one of like October 1995.
Yeah. Yeah, I got some scrap wood that came with my place, and it's been moved, and I've looked at it, but that's about it. It's way more badass if you've just never touched it or tried to reorganize the scrap wood pile.
Yeah, absolutely. You just let it rot.
Just let it rot, let it roll, baby. And then you look at some of it, and you're like, should I sand that down, or is that lead paint? Nah, that's lead paint. But how bad would it really be? I went to the hardware store the other week, actually, and I was like, hey, so I'm trying to get rid of some lead paint in a safe way. What do you guys have for that? And they're like, yeah, we don't recommend you do that at all, sir. And I was like, there's nothing? You're not going to give me anything? I guess not. You got to take it to a place now.
Yeah, people are too touchy about it. It's the same thing with asbestos. People go crazy about asbestos. So you know what? That puts hair on your chest. All right?
A little bit won't kill you. By the way, I got to put a disclaimer on this podcast right away. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to lead paint or asbestos, so don't take my word for it. Just got to cover both of our asses legally. So there you go.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't listen to the guy with 2 tankards on his head.
Where are you at right now?
I'm in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Whoa. The hell are you doing down there?
Well, my girlfriend actually lives down here. So now I split time between Milwaukee and Sao Paulo.
Really? That's cool, man. Where'd you meet her?
At a film festival, actually. Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal.
Nice.
Last, 2 summers ago. So, yeah, she had a film there, and I had a film there, and we hit it off. So,
that's great, dude. By the way, congrats on the film. Oh my God, it's so funny and it's so unique. And so you gotta, where did the idea come from?
Well, as all great ideas start, it started in a bar. And,
perfect.
The director, Mike Cheslick, and I, it was actually after the Milwaukee Film Festival in 2018, after we premiered our first feature, Lake Michigan Monster. And we just
also very funny. Are also very great film. I mean, you guys are so creative with using the resources that you have to make a stylistically cool ass film. Super inventive that you guys are zagging when other people are zigging. You're doing the thing. It's very cool to see.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we just try to kind of just do whatever we can to kind of stand out from the crowd, even if that results in your movie looking like crap, which our movies does. It's purposely looks like this, lo-fi style, but that kind of sets us apart from everyone else, which, kind of works to our advantage. But I appreciate that about Lake Michigan Monster. Yeah, that was another movie that was like, this movie looks like it cost $20, but that was a $20 well spent. But yeah, Mike and I got this idea for Beavers. We just wanted to make this movie, kind of like our childhood, like growing up in the wintertime in Wisconsin, going sledding and doing snowball fights with friends. And we wanted to incorporate mascots because everyone around the world, it is a universal language that people in mascot costumes falling down is inherently funny. That's
true.
Fact.
That's not disputed. There's nobody in this age when you can believe anything. Nobody will dispute that. Exactly.
So we just wanted to incorporate mascots falling down with me getting hurt and sled chases, snowball fights. And it was going to be like another smaller movie like Lake Michigan Monster. But as we continued to write and brainstorm, it just grew and grew and grew into this giant action adventure monstrosity you see today.
Yeah. How do you write? Because for people who haven't seen it, thinking of something to compare it to, it's almost like watching cartoons as a kid. Sort of that's kind of a way to maybe describe it, because it's largely is it technically a silent film? Because it's not. There's obviously soundtrack and there's some screams and some guttural stuff, but so I don't know where does it fit in the genre of film for people who aren't. I'm not like a film buff, but how would you put it into a genre if you would?
Yeah, we always just kind of describe it as a no dialogue movie.
No dialogue.
Yeah, because obviously, like you said, I mean, the soundtrack is incredible, and our sound designer Bob Barido, this is like his Sistine Chapel of sound design. So the sounds inform so much of the movie and are amazingly well done. But yeah, there's barely any dialogue. So yeah, we just call it a no dialogue movie, and that was a challenge. How do you got to show versus tell? It's called a movie. It's not called a talkie.
Yeah. And you do that. The acting that is done in there is incredible because it's such physical comedy that it's the kind of thing that I think your average viewer will look at and maybe not see how hard it is to really make those even the small choices. Like I remember at one point you guys had that log that, like, I think it was when you were making the fire, and you can't find anything, so you find a log and then you wring out the log, but getting that prop in particular, a giant log that's like a sponge. Like, where are you even getting these? Did your dad do that one too?
My dad made a lot of props, but he didn't make that one. And let me tell you, Charlie, it's amazing. If you go on this little place called eBay or Amazon or Etsy, you can find all sorts of crap. And I assure you that lots of the things that we bought for beavers, I can't possibly imagine anyone else buying. Like you said, there was this like a log pillow that we used for a gag. And I just typed it on like eBay, log pillow, and someone makes it, same thing with Etsy. Like, we need little wooden fish, or whatever. Someone makes them. For some reason, someone makes artisanal wooden little fish. So it was like a lot of that kind of stuff. And if we couldn't find it, we would just get my dad to chip in, or I would get my buddy Eric West or my buddy Maurice Gross and throw them some beer. And next thing you know, they make a semi-decent looking prop.
Can I also just say that it's not lost on me that prop on your head, you at one point chose to put in a suitcase and fly internationally. That is what stayed in. Did you check a bag especially for that?
Yeah, not only the hat, but we got a couple costumes too.
You got that down there. That is awesome.
Yeah, we got the horse down here. We got the dog down here. We got this hat down here. Because, we're actually having our Sao Paulo premiere next month, too.
Okay, that makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, no, I don't just carry these things with me without intention of having a screening.
I mean, look, I was not convinced of that until you just said that. And I got to tell you this much: shipping that that hat. How do you even get that? How do you even move that? You put that in a big box.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I had to do a separate suitcase for the hat and the dog and the horse.
Those fit in a suitcase?
They all fit in one suitcase. Yeah, we've gotten pretty good at
consolidating.
Consolidating, yeah, because whenever we would do screenings around the world, we would try to get as many Beaver Boys to these screenings. And when we would do the in-person screenings, we'd always try to have mascots there. And it was sort of like bringing the circus to town a little bit, where not only you had the screenings, but there'd be some antics that would happen, like during the Q&A, where the director, Mike Cheslick, and I would be doing the Q&A, and all of a sudden, in the back of the theater, there's a couple of beavers, and then I'd have to go and wrestle them WWE style, So we kind of wanted to, like I said, sort of like bring the circus to town, and it got to a point where people almost started looking forward more to what our antics were going to be at these screenings than the actual movie itself. So anything to try to promote the movie.
Yeah, seriously. So let's talk about the writing of this, because writing is sort of my main thing, or has always been my main thing. But in watching this film, so much of the writing is in obviously the visual storytelling, but that still has to be written, and written very specifically, because you guys have callbacks and themes and all that sort of stuff. So how do you go about writing this?
Honestly, it's a little bit of a blur, but yeah, it was just, again, the director, Mike Cheslick, and I, over the course of several months, just coming up with all these different gag ideas and how these gags can build on top of one another in satisfying ways, and how you can make a kind of a one-off gag or a one-off runner come back in a satisfying way later. So it was just a big puzzle of just how are we going to arrange this in such a way that it's going to make sense and be satisfying and there won't be any loose ends. And, you come up with 1,000 gags and you go with like the best, like, I don't know, 100 or less or whatever. And again, you just try to connect them all in a satisfying way. And we just drew on little note cards, on little index cards, and placed them on a kitchen table. And then we would just kind of rearrange all these index cards and in such a way that they would all connect to one another. And then at 5 o'clock, we'd break and we'd, break out the Tanqueray and watch Kung Fu for 6 hours. So it's a little bit of a blur as to how we exactly got this done. But all I can say is it took a while.
Okay.
It was a big old puzzle. It was a big 1,000-piece puzzle.
What were who were the influences? I mean, you even bring in Kung Fu. What were the movies that influenced this movie?
I think some of the biggest influences, obviously, like silent film, like Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin. But then if you want to go more, recent, the movie is sort of like a half film, half video game. And we kind of wanted to meld those two worlds. And so Mike always credits Super Mario Galaxy 2 as a huge reference.
Okay. All right.
And obviously, just like other role-playing games in general, like Legend of Zelda and Skyrim and stuff. But, we were influenced by, like I said, like the action and how the action is staged, like in Jackie Chan movies from the 80s and early 90s, and like Evil Dead 2. And just like older cartoons, like older Popeye cartoons. Also, I mean, Mike has a whole Letterboxd like account where it's just all the inspirations for Beavers, and there's like 50 movies on there. So, it's a lot of old cinema, it's a lot of video game references, and it's just sort of, again, it's a lot of physical comedy, which I think Hollywood hasn't done in many, many years for no particular reason. I just think people kind of have forgotten how to do it, but there's always room for physical comedy. There always has been. And people always love those old silent films. And they say, oh, those old silent films are so great. It's really a shame they can't make movies like that anymore. And it's like, no, you can. You're just not, And so we challenge ourselves to like, well, let's give it a whirl, so. Yeah.
Well, props to you guys on that. And it's went really well. I mean, I want to get to the shooting of it in a second, but how many awards? You guys racked up a bunch of like awards and film. Can you just rattle off some of those for people who don't know? It was in like a bunch of different festivals. Obviously, you got this going on here. I mean, it was very well received and just so unique. So I think like you really demonstrated that the audience can exist for this kind of comedy.
Oh, totally. And we weren't exactly sure how people were going to take it. And it did take a while for, the cat knocked down some stuff.
Cats will do that, man.
Cats will do that. He's drunk. But it took a little bit of convincing people at first to go see this movie. Because again, it's a black and white movie. There's no dialogue. It's like an hour and 45 minutes. There's no stars in it, So it took a little bit of convincing, but once film festivals started to take it, then it exploded. I mean, April 2023, I think we were in April alone, we were in like 18 film festivals. So we were like trying to like split up and get Beaver Boys everywhere, So the movie's played at like over 70 film festivals worldwide in, the 2 years or so that it's been on the festival circuit. It's got a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 4.2 on Letterboxd, which is the second highest rated movie of this year behind Dune.
Wow, dude. That, I mean, that is, you have the ear of the or the eye of the the film rating elite right there, which is, that's incredible. And
so and as far as awards, we've just, I don't know. It's hard to keep track. We've gotten like dozens of awards, and we've had such a blast going to all these different festivals, like around America, and then like overseas too. People, it's like I said, like it doesn't matter what your background is. It's just like people like physical comedy. I don't know. People like seeing me get hurt and fall down, and they like to see beavers getting torn apart.
Well, you're really good at it. I gotta say that. And the other thing is, it's so smart because there's no language barrier in it. So the international audience, I mean, it's the definition of universal in that way. What are the economics like of it? Like, you watch this film, super well received, critically well received. Is it something that we could see more of? Like, because I think it being well received is one thing, and then you guys getting the financial return and the investment on the next one, or the next one, like what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, we're going forward with the next one, and
that's great.
We're already starting to finance the next one, which is awesome. And because Beavers was such a small budget, we already have been able to make our investors money back and then some. And again, that, the movie released to theaters in, technically it released at the end of last January. So it's been in theaters now for months and months and months. But it's made all its money back already. The next movie will be a little bit bigger budget because the nice thing about Beavers was it was made at such a time in everyone's life where we could kind of afford to do things really cheap, and and we sort of were cashing in a lot of favors and stuff,
Yeah.
But moving forward to the next movie, it's a bigger movie. But we still want to just kind of go from, the next step up, where it's like, it's like Lake Michigan Monster. What's the next logical step up? Okay, Hundreds of Beavers. And the next logical step up is movie number 3. We don't want to go from Hundreds of Beavers to, a Marvel movie.
Right.
We just want to scale up accordingly. And like I said, that's already in the works right now. And because that was always a big thing for the director, Mike Cheslick, and our producing partners, SRH, was, we wanted to make sure to make the investors money, because we like to think of these movies as like a small business. And I think that so many times in indie film, you get these people who they get their budget to make their movie, but they're only really interested in like making the movie and then, okay, now it's out on streaming or whatever. And we wanted to create like, hey, let's bring people back to theaters, because this is the way the movie's supposed to be shown and experienced at theaters. And on top of that, if you do it in theaters first and you kind of self-distribute the movie yourself, you can end up making a lot more money. So we are very conscious of like, hey, let's make our investors money back, and then they'll come back for the next movie. So
right, yeah, it's way more sustainable that way. And you said what I think is cool is that you guys, you did it all, and you did it with the props. Even you brought up your dad made them, and you shot it. You shot in northern Wisconsin, the UP, right? Or where exactly did you shoot it?
Yep, northern Wisconsin, UP. We stayed the first winter. We stayed in Stevenson, Michigan. But we were shooting all over the UP and northern Wisconsin. And then the second winter, we stayed in Manitowish waters in Wisconsin. And again, we were just shooting you name it, we were shooting something somewhere up there, And of course, once in a while, someone would stop us and we'd be wearing, beaver costumes, and they'd think we'd be making some sort of weird furry sex video, which I assure you, we were not. But it was definitely a strange thing to stumble upon.
I hope you guys steered clear of any public hunting land, by the way, because, or do you have to have orange hats on? How did you protect your beavers? Because there's a lot of hunters that might listen first, shoot second, you know what I mean? Or shoot first, listen second.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely thought about that, but we never saw any hunters, unfortunately. That would have been a good story if someone got shot, but unfortunately no one shot on set.
Next time you should really do that for the press. I mean, if you want, think about all the more money you could have made if you had. I'm not talking a lethal shot. I'm talking just a flesh wound, like a little calf nick.
Oh yeah. I mean, just think if like I got shot in the ass or something. Like that's just comedy right there.
Right. Yeah, we're not trying to recreate the Rust situation or anything.
Yeah, no, I'd get shot in the ass, and I'd think at first, it's really painful. But I think about 30 seconds later, I'd think, this is pretty funny. This is good.
Nothing beats a shot in the ass. As far as physical comedy goes, that's kind of best,
Yeah, we'll save that gimmick for the sequel, 200 of Beavers.
Did you just tell me what the third movie is?
No, I did not.
No, that'd be a shame. That is a shame, because that would be great, is what I was trying to say.
Maybe one day. I mean, it's not the first one in the pipeline, but you never know.
Folks, excuse the interruption, but I want to let you know that the Cripescast is powered by Everlight Solar. We got those solar panels right up there on the roof. They are making things so much less expensive around here, and it is good for the environment. I've been an Everlight Solar customer for a few years now, and I got to tell you, it is slick. It's super easy. If you think solar panels might be right for you, go to everlightsolar.com for your free consultation. And I got to tell you, folks, Fleet Farm is your one-stop shop to find big gifts for every name on this year's shopping list. Shopping for the kiddos? Check out Toyland and choose from their huge selection of everything from Bluey and Barbie to Lego and Lincoln Logs. If you need a gift for mom and dad, shop online and get free shipping on their huge selection of top brand apparel and footwear. And if you find a lower price while holiday shopping, well, Fleet Farm will match it, so you always get the best price. Find the best gifts at the best prices this holiday season at the Fleet Farm. And finally, folks, as Black Friday comes here, Manitowoc Minute is your place for all your Midwest merch needs. If you're looking for hoodies, playing cards, koozies, glassware, we got the Barron's Old Fashioned Brandy merch there. Anything you need for the Midwest person on your Christmas list, go to manitowocminute.com. And this week, you get a free gift. A free gift. Everyone likes free things when you spend $50 or more. And there you have it, folks. Happy Thanksgiving. And we're thankful for you. Let's get back to my conversation with Ryland Tews. What'd you shoot it on?
Oh my God. It was like a Panasonic GH5. I think that's what it was.
Panasonic GH5. What even is that? I don't know what that is.
It's just like a consumer, like it's a nice camera for what we needed. Like, but it's not like a shooting on an Alexa.
Yeah.
It's
just one of those standard DSLR deals, huh?
Yeah. But that's the thing is like, we didn't need to even the movie's not even shot in 4K or even 2K. The movie's shot in 1080, because even if we were to have shot it in 4K with like a nice Alexa, which would have been a waste of money, we would have just degraded the movie anyways, because that's the look of the movie. We have to make the movie look grainy and scratchy in order to do all these effect shots, because the movie doesn't look like, it's not Avatar,
Right.
it's like, what's the point of shooting on at a super expensive camera if you're going to degrade the quality anyway? So we got the GH5. I don't know how much it cost. It was like $1,000. It's probably less now, but that's all we needed.
That's, and because also in editing it, if you're editing 4K, that's just going to bog down the edit of it all too.
Yes. Absolutely. And Mike would have he actually had his Mac in the cabin we were staying at. So every day after shooting, he would bring the footage into the edit immediately and show us like, see,
yeah,
that's how we shot that thing today. And we'd go, okay, I guess we'll stick around for another day.
How long did it take to shoot it?
It took, I think it was 13 weeks.
Wow.
And it was over 2 winters. It was winter 2020 and winter 2021. And then we had some other shoots here and there throughout the course of the year. But I'd say in total about 13 weeks.
Wow, dude. I mean, you know, in my world, it's like you shoot something, you put it up like the next week or whatever, and you get maybe that dopamine hit because it did well, or you get that sort of rejection if it didn't do well, and then you kind of change from there. So that's kind of the world I'm in, and I feel like a lot of people making content at all are in. But for you guys to invest that much time in such a unique vision, I mean, that's got to be half the battle right there, is staying with something and believing in it for so long, because it's just not that's not what I guess that's the movie business for sure. But so much of the entertainment business is going away from movies. And it's just really cool to like see what something with that much thought and that much execution what can happen. I mean, what you guys create it's a masterpiece. It's really, really great.
Well, thank you. That's very, very kind of you to say, and I appreciate that. And like you said, that's what it was. It was just like we had to, you know, the director, Mike Cheslick, he said early on, he said, look, guys, we either make this movie or we die. There's no third option. So we have to make the movie or we will die. So even though the movie took a very long time, you know, we started shooting in the beginning of January 2020, and the movie wasn't actually finished until September 2022. It was all worth it because we knew, because we were allotted a bunch of time, we were able to make the exact movie we wanted to. There's a lot of indie films these days who, you know, they say, oh, we shot our whole feature in 21 days. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. That's a great turnaround. I'm happy for your turnaround, and that like oh, wow, boom, you made a movie. But like, because our movie took so long, we were able to just get it absolutely correct and jam as much stuff into it as possible and make exactly the kind of movie we wanted to. So I guess at the end of the day, even though the movie took a super long time to make and we had to do so many different shoots and go up north twice, 2 winters, it was all worth it, because at the, now the rest of our lives, we can look back and say, we didn't compromise. We made the exact movie we wanted to, and it turned out to be the right move.
And was it always a plan to shoot it over 2 winters?
No. I mean, originally we were like, oh yeah, we can shoot this all like in 1 winter. And it just became apparent so quick that was just not going to happen. First of all, we only had a little bit of money the first winter. And it wasn't after we showed some other future investors like what we'd already shot that then they came aboard. But no, the thing is, we had such a small crew of guys. I mean, sometimes it'd be like 2 to like 4 or 5 guys, and everything moves so much slower when you're in the deep snow in the cold in northern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Lugging all that equipment and all the props and all the costumes into like the woods, and you're cold and you're stepping, and it's like you're getting buried in snow. It's so much manual labor that by the time you actually start to shoot, you've already like wasted so much time, and then all of a sudden the sun's going down because it's 4 p.m.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah. You have way less from a practicality standpoint. This is, it's a difficult task. Did you have money to pay people like right away, or was it like deferred payment? Like, kind of geeking out in the nuts and bolts in this, but I think it's cool to like dive into that for other people out there who are inspired by your film, want to make their film. Like, how do you do that practically?
I mean, we paid guys as much as we could. I'll say that, and again, no one was getting rich shooting this movie.
Right.
We're not rich now either, but
yeah,
it's no, it's not like, again, there was no stars in this movie or anything, but we paid what we could. Again, it was a small budget movie. But a lot of it was done out of the kindness of people's hearts because they just thought it was a lot of fun to shoot the movie. I mean, like, I would go through my phone and I would think to myself, like, okay, who am I going to get to come up for a few days or a week to help us out shoot this movie? And you just start thinking, okay, like, this is a good dude. This is a good dude. This is a good dude. And you say, hey, you want to come up for a weekend? You want to come up for a week and just like play a beaver in our, stupid mascot movie? And they just be like, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. How can I help? Because it's not every day you get a phone call saying, hey, we need you to come play a mascot, a feature film. And, you're going to be one of the stars of the movie. And hey, we got a fridge full of beer for you too. Yeah. Every day, it's always a hard out. When you can only film till like 4 or 4:30 every day, everyone's going to get home to the cabin. We're going to drink 30 beers or whatever. Right. And we're going to get up early. We're going to do it all over again. And so there was never any sort of like interpersonal conflicts or anything. It was just a bunch of dudes in the woods making a furry video.
Yeah. That's perfect. So it was a good time. Do you guys have, like, when you finally got the cut ready and everything, did you have sort of a feeling then that it was going to take off in the way it did? Or
yeah, I mean, I was always very confident in the movie, I will say. I always thought we had something pretty special on our hands. But again, it went through a lot of it's just, Mike, he edited the whole movie, and he did all the VFX work on the movie as well. So he was constantly doing like new cuts of scenes and final cuts of the movie and stuff like that. So, but by the time it was all in place, I just had this feeling like it was going to really resonate with people. And again, it took a while because no dialogue, black and white. It's an hour and 45 minutes. There's no stars. It's a little hard to convince people, like film festivals and stuff, like, hey, your audience is going to like this. And then once the reviews started coming in and other festivals were like, hey, I hear this movie's pretty good. And these guys are going to show up with a big raccoon hat and they're going to wrestle beavers. Then it was sort of an all-encompassing like event. And then we really knew like we had something kind of special here.
Yeah. That is super fun. So what's your story? Where did you grow up, and what got you into film?
Well, I grew up in Milwaukee, and I've just been kind of, I don't know, making home movies and stuff from a young age. Whenever there was a class project in elementary school or high school, I always asked the teacher, hey, can I make a video? Yeah. And so the videos were never very related to the
assignment.
The source. They were just impressed that, they made a little movie. I guess I'll give them a good grade, Yeah. But yeah, just from a young age doing that. And then Mike Cheslick and I met in high school. And then our first video together was a promotional video for the high school, for Whitefish Bay High School. Just called the Whitefish Bay High School promo. You can look it up on YouTube. That was our first one. And then we did a history video also for Whitefish Bay High School. And people seemed to really like our videos. They thought they were very fun and funny and silly. And they said, good job, guys. Here's a check for $100. And then we said, hey, we should just, keep working together. I guess people seem to think we're decently talented. So even though Mike went off to NYU out east and I went to UW Milwaukee for film school, we continued to work together, and I would like fly out to New York and we'd work on stuff together. And then eventually we made this web series together called LIPS, which is an acronym for League of Interplanetary Process Servers. And at first we thought that was going to take off, but nothing came of it. And so I just started making Lake Michigan Monster back in Milwaukee. I started sending Mike footage. He started editing it. And next thing you know, Lake Michigan Monster is sort of a little cult hit. And then we were able to get a little bit more money for beavers. And that's where we are today.
That's cool. So did you sort of growing up, did you like the path for movies? There used to be like this path to do movies, and now with sort of COVID and sort of people going to movies or not going to movies or watching them at home or whatever, the whole industry is completely changing, so like, is this sort of the path to do it in your mind, of just making your own stuff, as opposed to, the traditional go to LA, work as a bartender, work as a server, audition, that kind of thing? Did you ever in your mind think about going that route, or have you always been doing sort of what you want to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, like Mike lives out in LA and has for several years. I mean, I lived in LA for a few years when we were finishing Lake Michigan Monster. And I just worked at like a ramen shop, which, by the way, my love interest in Beavers, the furrier, we worked at the same ramen shop together.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we were just like friends. And and then eventually I'd told her we were making this beaver movie. And I said, hey, do you want to like be this character? And she said, sure. So
that's awesome. Yeah, she's got a following outside of the thing too, doesn't she? She's got a YouTube following and whatever, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's got a huge following. She has like 500,000 subscribers. Yeah, everyone should check out Olivia Graves at The Witch of Wonderlust on YouTube. And I don't know. I just thought, oh, she'd be great for this part. So boom, there you go. And she didn't even have any like acting experience, but she does a great job.
Oh, she did awesome. Yeah. So you did that traditional thing then. You went out there and like
but like we did Lake Michigan Monster, and then I kind of we finished Lake Michigan Monster once I got out to LA. And then we were like trying to like sell Lake Michigan Monster and stuff. And but like honestly, usually when you go to LA, then you're like, oh, you're like trying to do all these like tryouts and stuff and audition for all these different parts. I didn't do that because I was so focused on me and Mike's next movie. And it's one of those things where it's like, I much rather spend all my time and energy like in our next movie rather than splitting time trying to like do other projects, because I knew Beavers was going to be such a gigantic undertaking that it had to require all my focus and energy. So it was a little, I mean, obviously it helped to move out there so Mike and I could work closer together. I mean, if we're working partners, we should probably live in the same city, so that made sense. But I didn't do one tryout or audition for any other movie in LA because I was just too focused on finishing Lake Michigan Monster and then just going right into Beavers,
Yeah.
And then eventually, once COVID happened, that was kind of the final straw where it's like, what the hell am I doing in LA?
Right.
So I went back to Milwaukee. Mike stayed in LA, but then we raised some money and we decided to make Beavers up in northern Wisconsin because we had connections in Wisconsin and we knew people around Wisconsin and Minnesota and stuff. So it was kind of funny for Mike then, because he was like the LA guy in Hollywood. And he's like, now I have to come back to Wisconsin in the northern woods and make this movie, So nothing about it's very traditional, but I would say that if you want to make your own indie movie, obviously you should, because, you get to make exactly what you want, but just don't try to make it a Hollywood movie, because you're probably not going to have very much money. So don't try to make a Hollywood movie. Try to make something completely different. And that's what we did with both of our movies. We couldn't get some like great 4K color image, so we made it look like this grainy black and white. It just looks like crap. But that allowed us to do like 1,500 effect shots and beavers or whatever. And then on top of that, you just got to set aside money for marketing, because the nice thing about Beavers was we got in cahoots with SRH in Milwaukee, this ad agency there. And after Beavers was finished, because it was an SRH co-production, they kind of footed the bill on all the marketing, and they really did, all the marketing on on the Instagram accounts and the Facebook and X and stuff. And they did all these amazing Beavers posts, like a few every week, and people loved them, like doing all like the Beavers, like movie parody posts and stuff like that. So I would say, even though you should make your own indie movie, make sure you set aside money or become friends with a marketing agency.
Yeah, even better.
Especially because everyone's on their phone these days, just staring at Instagram or whatever. And it's like, you got to get on there. You got to do some sort of viral marketing of some sort. So.
And then what is the importance to you of film versus whatever we're doing on social media these days? Like what does that mean to you, and why do you think that's important and worth hanging on to as people gravitate more towards smaller screen?
I just think that there's such a power in cinema that is unmatched by any other medium. Obviously there are some terrific television shows too, but like there's something when you're like sitting in a theater full of people. That's why I'm a big advocate of theaters too. When you're sitting in a theater full of people seeing a great movie, and you have this like collective experience seeing something for the first time, it's just a very powerful thing. And it's something that took a long time to make too. So hopefully you're kind of guaranteed to have a worthwhile experience too. So yeah, I think that's kind of the main thing for me is seeing something that you've created and put all your blood, sweat, and tears in over a long time, and seeing it projected on the big screen, and seeing just all the joy it brings people is really quite powerful. And there's nothing quite like it.
That's great, man. Yeah, I would agree with that. We've got a segment on this podcast called What Makes You Say Cripes? So I don't think I got to explain the meaning of cripes to you. So what makes you say cripes?
It's got to be warm beer.
Warm beer is the worst. I'll say this, though. There are some places in Germany where they serve it warm intentionally. Can you believe that?
That's what they keep telling me. But like, I've had plenty of warm beer in my day. I've had plenty of hot beer that's been sitting in the sand at a beach before. And it is, I don't understand. Like, I understand, like, maybe they drink warm beer. Like, I understand in like England, it rains a lot. It's very overcast. But like, even if I'm sitting by a fire and I'm cold, still give me an ice cold beer. Like, we were out shooting Hundreds of Beavers, it's below zero. And then we get home and we have like ice cold Busch Light, Right. I can't stand a warm beer.
Wisconsin guy, what's your favorite beer as a Wisconsin guy? What's your go-to right now?
Oh God, that's a pretty loaded question.
Yeah.
I mean,
a nice turn of phrase there. That is a loaded question. You like what you did there? Or did you do that intentionally? And you just delivered that so dry that I was like, oh, did you see what you did there?
I'm a pretty clever guy when I want to be.
Yeah.
I would say Spotted Cow because whenever I come home, I always need a Spotted Cow.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a good telltale sign. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll drink whatever, but like you can only get Spotted Cow in Wisconsin. So it's sort of, and actually when I came down to São Paulo this last time, I brought my girlfriend a 6-pack of Spotted Cow.
Oh yeah, you just got in the airport or whatever.
Yeah.
You will only bring the essentials down there. I can see that in this deal. You know what beer you have to try if you haven't tried? You should try Liney's Light. Have you ever tried that?
Liney's Light.
Yeah.
No.
It's a great beer, dude. They don't distribute it widely, but it's a great light beer. Next time you're back, you give it a go.
Yeah, I will. Thank you for the recommendation.
You know what else they have back now is the High Life Light.
I did see that. It's got the blue label.
Yeah, like that went away for a while. That was like all we drank in college. Now it's back, baby.
Yeah, no, I like the High Life Light. I got to check out the Liney's Light. I just I genuinely like Liney's. The only Liney's I don't like is the Summer Shandy though.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like the original, and because that was the stuff I kind of grew up drinking when I was a wee lad, and a wee lad over the age of 21.
Like 6?
Yeah, 8. But no, 12. Come on, 12, something like that. Okay, and also, how do you like your old fashioned, or do you not like old fashions?
Oh, I do like old.
Okay,
I like them strong.
Strong old fashions. Well, let's start with this: brandy or whiskey?
I prefer whiskey.
You do. And are you like a bourbon or because it's technically like a bourbon type thing.
Yeah, I prefer bourbon whiskey.
Okay. I am going to hold against you, I think. But
look, I know you make brandy.
It's not just that I make brandy. That's a big part of it. Don't get me wrong. No, I get it. I get it. They're both good. I'm not going to say anything against it. All right, sweet, sour, or press?
Sweet.
Garnishes. Do you like the cherries? Do you like the olives? Do you like the oranges? All of them? None of them.
No, I take a giant orange or 2, and I'll take like 9 cherries.
Wow.
Very sweet.
I like that. That's a whole fruit kebab in your deal. You got a nice little fruit salad in there.
Oh yeah, that's my fruit salad. That's it's just like a whole meal in one.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Get all your vitamins. Well, dude, thank you. This was super fun, and we got to find a way to collab. We got to do something with the Beavers. I'm not sure what we do, but we got to do something.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're always down to collaborate, and we'd love to do it with you, Charlie. And we'll think of something. I mean, even if that means running on the court during a Bucks game in a beaver costume, and you tackling the beaver or something.
I mean, if you can line that up, I'm on board for that. That would be incredible. We could also do like a ice fishing thing or something.
Yeah, I would love that. Those beaver costumes are very warm. The only problem we had with those beaver costumes in terms of the cold is the feet. The guys would just they just had their socks on, and they just slipped on these feet, and then they'd be their feet would turn to ice blocks in 5 minutes.
My dad had these electric socks that you put D batteries in. We had those going up. You got to get some of those for your guys for the sequel.
Yeah, that's right.
Think about it.
Absolutely. I like that. Oh, by the way, Charlie, can I just mention really quick, I'm just going to give a little plug here for Beavers.
Oh yeah, please plug away. Let people know what they can do. Best way to see it, all that sort of stuff.
So the best way to see it, we've been doing a theatrical screening all over the country, all over Canada for the last, all of 2024. But now we're doing one big last theatrical push at the beginning of December. So back in theaters in Wisconsin for one night only, a Northwoods Christmas, all on December 5th. So go to hundradsofbeavers.com for tickets. It's going to be screening at the Oriental Theater in Milwaukee, the Barrymore Theater in Madison, the Town Theater in Watertown. Not very creative. The Rivoli Theater in La Crosse. Rivoli?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
And the Blu-ray. The very special edition Blu-ray is going to be out on December 3rd from Vinegar Syndrome. It has more special features than a Lord of the Rings box set. Ooh. So anything you've ever wanted to know or didn't want to know about Hundreds of Beavers, you will see in that Blu-ray. So again, December, Milwaukee, Madison, Watertown, La Crosse, go see Hundreds of Beavers. It's going to be a great time. Bring your family, your friends, your enemies, sneak in a 6-pack of beer. You won't regret it.
I love it. Well, make sure you folks get out there. And then do you guys have a VHS for the VHS collectors?
We're working on it. We're also working on we have a vinyl coming out soon, too, of the entire soundtrack.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, great for Christmas. Just in time for Christmas. So get some tickets for the screening. Early Christmas present. There you got it.
That's right. Makes for a great stocking stuffer.
All right, man. Hey, this was very fun. Thank you so much. And let's stay in touch and find a way to collab with the Beavers. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely, Charlie. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if you ever want to collab on Beaver stuff or any other stuff, I'm totally down.
Yeah. Let's set up another call and chit chat and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love that.
All right, cool, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. Take it easy.
All right, bye-bye. All right, that's it, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Check out Hundreds of Beavers. It's back in theaters in Wisconsin. One night only, December 5th. Hundredsofbeavers.com for tickets. Milwaukee, Madison, Watertown, La Crosse is where it's playing. Follow Hundreds of Beavers at Beaver Film on X. Everywhere else, it is Hundreds of Beavers. And follow Ryland at Ryland Tews. You can also follow the Cripescast at Cripescast anywhere you get your podcasts. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks to Kelly Maraca, Hannah Milos for editing and for producing this podcast. Thanks to all of you for listening. Everyone, keep her moving and happy Thanksgiving.
So roll out the barrel and get the band brewing. Life's got you down, just keep her moving. It's on Wisconsin, the Badgers say it's the old Wisconsin Jubilee.
You know, sometimes when you're ice fishing, you put your foot in the walleye hole and go ass over tea kettle and you think you're done. No, you gotta keep her moving.